What's the craziest story you've heard of a couple breaking up? Before we start with the first story, please hit a subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Story 1. Couple had been dating since middle school. Stereotypical teen sweethearts, everyone thought they'd get married. One day she isn't at school and he isn't doing great. She tried to herself the night before and he wouldn't say anything about it. It was odd since she had no history of depression and was an all-around happy person. She finally starts talking to people and what happened gets out. Her boyfriend had been her mom from the beginning. The whole relationship destroyed her parents' marriage. Dude ended up having to go to a different school over the drama and hate he got. Story 2. Heard this one from my old hairstylist. She had a female friend who was dating this guy who had a pet pig. It was huge, like a full-grown pig. The pig hated the woman and pushed her out of bed to take her place next to her boyfriend. One day, she had enough and told him it is the pig or me. He told her that the pig was there first, so he dumped her and stayed with the pig. Man, that must have been a blow to her self-esteem. Story 3. A truck driver gets married. He and the wife buy a nice house. He's on the road paying for it. One day he comes home and the wife is gone and 6 months of bills and a foreclosure notice is on the table. For 6 months, she took every he made and kept it for herself until she eventually split with all his money. Story. A truck driver gets married. He and the wife buy a nice house. He's on the road paying for it. One day he comes home and the wife is gone and 6 months of bills and a foreclosure notice is on the table. For 6 months, she took every he made and kept it for herself until she eventually split with all his money. Story 5. A couple in the Blue Mountains west of Sydney. Climbers, indoor and outdoor. They climbed all day every day. It was their life. He left her because he was at level 45 and she was at level 41. Can't remember the number. But I remember they were close. She was holding him back. So, adios. Story. Newly married woman, a teacher at a local school, cheated on her husband, also a teacher at the same school, with the principal. They got caught in the act on school property. Both their careers ruined and probably ruined the husband's life. Reply. Something similar happened at my son's school. My son got a new boy in his class when he was about 6. We live in France, so the school system is different. They quickly became very good friends as it turned out they only lived down the road from us. A nice family. Mom was a teacher at the same school and they also had a daughter that was 2 years older than the boys. We also met several times for drinks with this family. Did some activities together like hikes and beach picnics. Could say we were quite good friends. A couple of years on, the old school principal retires and the new principal starts shamelessly pursuing our friend. Phone calls, flowers, gifts. She is blown away by his attention and starts an affair with him. For example, the kids went on a 3-day school trip in the mountains. She was one of the accompanying teacher. And the principal goes with them. He never went to school trips otherwise. The affair was the talk of the whole school. The son told my son, Mr. B, principal, will be my stepdad soon. There was a messy divorce as far as I know. We are not too much in contact with this family anymore. Our sons are still friends. They are both 14 and still in the same class. The principal and the teacher are still at school. They got married straight after the divorce was finalized. The kids are still in that school. I really feel sorry for the guy. He was really nice, really loved his wife, was a great dad. He really didn't deserve this. Story 7. Ooh, me. My whole life changed in a moment. I had just had my 6th anniversary with my husband. Our child was 5. I sent him to work with a kiss. By 11:15, I had found a video from a hidden camera in our bathroom showing my 14-year-old niece nude. By 11:20, I had called the police and had emotionally separated from my ex. I was shocked when I realized he wouldn't go to jail that day. I figured out how to get him to agree to stay with his parents. I let him come get whatever he wanted, but I called his dad to come pick him up. The next day I got protective orders and he never came home again. He is in prison and will be a sex offender for life. Story 8. Well, this happened to me. My ex, I guess, was seeing another girl behind my back, but me and him lived together. Guess. She wanted him to leave me so they could actually be together. Well, instead of just breaking up with me, we go out to a bar one night and he roughies me. While we are there, I got kicked out when I started walking funny. We made it to a gas station and I collapsed. He called and put a weed pipe in my purse. I got arrested for public intox after waking up from a coma caused by being roughied and possession of a paraphernalia for the pipe. Did a couple weeks in jail. He moved in with that other girl and, a week or two later, collapsed on the floor and died. His liver and kidneys were from drinking. He was 29. I got out of jail the day he died. That was the craziest breakup I've ever had or ever heard of, LOL. Story 9. The pretty girl in my class got married and had a kid with a decent guy. She was cheating on him with another local dude. Married dude found out and went to confront the other guy. Other guy shot at him, hit him in the back. Married guy escapes but dies on the side of a road from gunshot. Shooter claims self-defense and got off. Victim's family told wife and dude to get out of town or they would get wasted. She took the kid and left town with the guy. Feel bad for the kid living with their dad's killer. Far as I know, the wife has never returned. Edit. This happened around 2010 to 2011, Mississippi. Story 10. I had an old co-worker who was almost retired and did one of those DNA kits with her husband. He was an Manda consultant who traveled for work for at least 2 decades. They found out that he had fathered 3 kids that were now adults. Who knows how many more. She divorced him after 42 years of marriage. I remember her crying in the office very vividly. Story. Friend was an underwater welder. Terrible job but pays well. They won't let you work after a certain age though. Friend and partner had bought an amazing house in the Philippines near where he worked, and every dollar was now going into his retirement savings because the career was so time limited. Work was a couple weeks out at sea, then a couple weeks back and so on. One day he gets home from a shift, discovers his partner has sold the house and put all the proceeds as well as all the contents of his savings into her parents' name and then bugged out. Yes, she had been cheating on him. My friend tried, but couldn't get any substantial money back due to everything having been in both their names and nothing obvious in the ex-partner's accounts anyway. The in-laws were somehow untouchable. So he was close to retiring and living the sweet life in comfort in a glorious home he owned outright, to being nearly washed out of his career and also totally penniless. He moved back to Canada and lived in a crowded shared house with a bunch of 20-somethings and started from scratch as a construction worker at 40. Story 12. Dude was 22, girl was 19. Guy lived in Seattle, girl lived in Mississippi. They met online and fell in love. Guy would fly down every month or two to take her out and spend time with her and her family. He would bring her family gifts every visit. Her family is absolutely adored Guy, hoping he'd marry their daughter. One of the cutest and most perfect couples ever. Just a romance out of a Disney movie. Almost 2 years later, Guy decides it's time, packs his bags and drives across the country to move closer to her. They were both super excited. She was his whole world and his future. Less than a week after moving, girl cheated on and left Guy for someone with a perm and Harry Potter glasses. Guy drowned himself in alcohol and ended up taking his own life a few months later. He was my best friend. He didn't deserve that. Just a wild situation to break up in. Story 13. It's over 25 years ago, so my memory's a bit blurry and I might have gotten some details wrong. But here it goes. A friend of mine, A, from high school, had a girlfriend, B, for a while. They were living together, but truthfully, none of us in the group of friends really liked her. In any case, one day she got pregnant as she forgot to take the pill. I don't remember the timeline exactly, but in any case, the baby was born. And a guy friend of hers, C, lives with them for a while to help with caring for the baby. That guy, by the way, was super religious and gay. His church was very tolerant or something. So things between A and B grew sour, so she moved out. I think she tried to take the baby with her, but she was deemed by the authorities not to be mentally fit to care for the baby. In any case, A and C were now taking care of the baby, and to everyone's surprise, A rediscovers his sexuality and gets officially together with C. I visited A and C a long while after the drama, and they were loving parents to a smart and healthy daughter. Oh, and then a few years after that, I randomly saw B&B on TV, telling her story about being a pathological liar. That was bizarre to say the least. Story. My ex, who I lived with for something like years, had encouraged me to stop drinking, and so I had. On my birthday, she brought home a bottle of red wine, a bottle of white wine, and some food for me to cook. Instead of cooking, we drank both those bottles of wine and went out on the town. We went to a bar on a pier and got pretty drunk, then went to a karaoke bar and drank a little more. After that, I wanted to go play pinball, but she was done for the night. We got into a huge argument and both stormed off in different directions to walk home. I got home first. I was upset and drunk, so I locked the door so she wouldn't be able to come inside. This was fucking stupid and I can't defend it. It was a huge mistake. She banged on the door for a while and I eventually let her inside. She then called the cops and told them I had abused her, I hadn't touched her. So, the cops came and took me to jail for domestic violence on my birthday. It was my first trip to jail, and it was Long Beach, Compton County. On the way to jail, the cop said this happens all the time and he was sure she'd call and clear things up when she sobered up and I'd be out. Instead, I spent 2 weeks in jail while she got on a plane and went to my fucking birthday party where she said I had to stay home for work. She gathered gifts that were for me and even blew out my birthday candles. I never got the gifts, all while I was in jail. There's more to the story, but long story short is that they let me out of jail and never pressed any charges because nothing happened, and that's how that relationship ended. Story 15. Friend of mine walked in on her boyfriend s**ing his brother's, as in the boyfriend's brother, as in incest, while trying to de-escalate the situation. Yeah, good luck with that. Her boyfriend said it wasn't really incest because they were both men, so they couldn't have a baby. She was completely horrified and disgusted. He kept texting her trying to apologize and begging her to come back. She shared everything with us in the group chat. Dude was fucking insane. Edit. Okay, let me clear up a few things. 1. The friend in question is like a sister to me, and everyone in the group chat, 4 gals, have known each other for April 25th, 2024. She was absolutely mortified and didn't want anyone else to know. She is fine with us telling the story as long as we don't use their names before y'all ask about that. What actually happened was that she walked in, immediately screamed in disgust, walked out of the room intending to leave the house, and he stopped her and tried to de-escalate. She told him to let her go and he did. She left. He bombarded her with texts begging for another chance. She told him to get therapy and blocked him. 3. He moved away and hasn't tried to reach her, nor has he reached out to any of us. We all knew him. I was actually concerned for his safety and checked his social media every now and then for a while. He was fine. He is still fine. Hopefully he got help. 4. My friend developed trust issues after that happened and had to work with a therapist, but she's okay now and engaged. This all happened several years ago in another country, not in the US. I'm not sure what the laws are regarding this sort of thing over there, but I don't think she would have notified the authorities anyway because they were both adults in their mid to late 20s at the time. Gross, but no one was getting hurt. Alright folks, that's a wrap. If you like more of this, please hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your thoughts in the comment below. I'll see you in the next video.